specific because there's a good chance it will be covered in the content tonight. So over to you guys. Let's go.
Go.
Hey everyone, welcome to tonight's training plan, which is all about deal packaging as we have covered so far in the webinar. Now, what we're going to cover tonight is we are going to cover why you should start a deal packaging business today, tomorrow, or whenever it might be. We're also going to go into how to set up your business completely legally, compliantly, in order for you to avoid any sort of issues in the future. We're going to talk about how failing to plan is planning to fail. We're going to go into lead generation. It's not specifically a sourcing webinar tonight. It's all about the deal packaging business element, but we're still going to go into our top 3 lead generation strategies for maximum success. We're also going to go into finding investors who want your deals and how to avoid time wasters. And then, of course, how you package those deals up in the right way to maximize the fees that you can charge. And really, we're going to cover an overview of the Goliath sourcing method in terms of what else is involved. Now, we're not going to go into massive detail on the Goliath sourcing method every single step tonight because we simply don't have time. But I will be covering the steps throughout the educational part tonight. So, first of all, what I wanted to do is really talk about the difference between sourcing and deal packaging. So some of you may have seen videos that I have done on Facebook and YouTube with regards to the difference and how a lot of people still mistake them to be the same thing. So sourcing is the activity that is carried out by all investors looking for deals. Whether you're looking to package and sell them for a fee, whether you're looking to keep them for your own portfolio, or whether you're just simply going out and doing it for a bit of practice, that is called property sourcing. So property sourcing isn't really covered by any sort of legalities. It's not covered by any sort of business. The reality is it is simply the act of finding deals. Now, deal packaging, however, is slightly different in the sense that it is a property business trading or brokering deals for a fee. So, of course, the reality is we all need to do the sourcing activity in order to build the property portfolios. But as a deal packager, because it is a property business, there are legal requirements of you in order for you to be able to trade. So I'll come on to those in a minute. But really, what I wanted to cover again tonight is why start a deal packaging business? What is all this rage about? Lots of you will see on social media there are a lot of deal packagers out there. There's a lot of hype about deal packaging. There are a lot of trainers. There are a lot of companies offering deal packaging services, training, coaching, etc. But why is it so popular? What is all the rage about? Well, first of all, you can start today, literally tonight. You could actually start your deal packaging business with no capital and no experience whatsoever. So, of course, that's very attractive for those who might not be able to afford to buy property themselves or afford to be able to refurbish property or have any money in the bank in order to be able to do it themselves. But what you can do, of course, is do all the fun bits for other people. So, generally, when I speak to people, and personally, the reason that I got into property is because I love looking around houses or flats. I love looking at how other people have things done up. I love looking at projects that needs creativity in order to maximize returns. All of those bits I consider to be the fun bits of property. Now, a lot of people will have been put off historically about going out and doing this because they haven't had the capital, they haven't had the deposits, they've not had the money to be able to do it themselves. But they'd still quite like to go out and do the viewings. You know, when I was in agency, we had people that were almost like professional viewers. All they did was go around viewing properties, wasting agents' time and not really going anywhere with it. And to be honest, as an agent, you eventually work out who these people are, and at some point we would refuse to carry out any more viewings with people interested without any sort of proof that they are actually active, i.e., a mortgage agreement in principle or something along the similar lines. So, with regards to deal packaging and a deal packaging business, of course, you're actually doing all of the activity that you would have done for yourself anyway, but you're doing this on behalf of investors with the capital for you to be able to take those deals forward. So, all the fun bits without any of the need for that financial commitment. The other thing, of course, is that you start to build your skills, your experience, and your, dare I say it, power team, but your team of professionals, so that when you're ready to go ahead, not only have you got a trusted team to be able to act on your behalf, but if you do this right and you do your deal packaging business where you're referring business to your professional services, your lawyers, your surveyors, your energy assessors, whoever it might be, the reality is when it comes to you doing it for yourself, not only will you have that team, you will also probably find that they will do you deals in terms of the cost of those services, which of course is an all-round win-win when you're trying to save money on every deal. But again, importantly, you're going to be building up those skills and that experience to be able to go out and do it for yourself, but also improve your abilities as a deal packaging business to be able to go out and expand further, start exploring new strategies, start exploring new areas, start covering wider areas. But without the skills and experience, the systems and the processes, the reality is that you will find it very difficult at the beginning. So it's a great opportunity to start building those skills, building that experience, and of course building that team. Now, of course, all of that's fine, but we are realistically in this for the money, because of course, why would you set up any sort of business without the intention of making money from it, making good profit, and giving yourself the lifestyle that you want? So with a deal packaging business, you can earn thousands of pounds per deal. So we at Goliath Property Solutions have a minimum fee of £2,000 per deal. We average usually £3,500 to £4,000 per deal. We have had deals go as high as £15,000 to £20,000 as well. So the possibilities are endless. How you charge your fees is completely up to you. You can charge a percentage of the deal. You can charge a fixed fee. It all depends on what the deal allows, what you agree with your investors, and of course what your targets, your goals are to achieve in your property business. So not only can you charge the fees, but of course when you're carrying out the activity, what you're also going to be able to do is cherry pick the best deals for yourself. So if you are in a position where you are carrying out lots of lead generation activity and a deal comes your way which actually potentially has no requirement for upfront investment, it might be a creative deal such as a rent to rent, where we've talked about it in our academy before, where you can really get a deal with no upfront investment whatsoever. You can cherry pick that deal for yourself and keep it so that you don't have to monetize, don't have to package that up for a fee. But of course, because you're carrying out all this lead generation activity, you're building your pipeline. The ones that you don't want, the ones that don't fit your criteria, the ones that maybe aren't quite there with regards to the cash flow, for example, or the profit at the end, you can monetize those through a deal packaging business. And of course, it will lead on to other opportunities in terms of expansion of your deal packaging business. So you might decide to add a regular estate agency arm or a lettings and management arm. You might be able to go along the joint venture route, finding investors and working with them to share the profits of the deal. And of course, you could start to look at bolt-on acquisitions. You could add a financial services arm to your business. You could add a surveying arm to your business. The possibilities really are endless in terms of developing your property business out. We all need to start somewhere, but depending on what your goals are, you might have a goal just simply to add another 10, another £1,000, £2,000 a month onto your income. You might have a goal to completely stop working and focus 100% on your property business to give you a passive lifestyle. Not to say passive, it's not necessarily passive, but you can outsource everything so that you're very involved very little. Or of course you can create a massive property organisation that has all the different revenue streams and turning over millions and millions of pounds per annum. It's completely up to you. The possibilities are endless, and that is what the Rage is all about. That's why it's very exciting. It's all the fun bits. You can do it with very little to no startup capital, and of course, the possibilities of expansion of your business are endless. But the reality is, this is a business. It's a serious business, and there are legal requirements in order to be able to set up to package deals for a fee. Now, the reality is, we're considered property agents. We're in the same bracket as estate agents, and we are governed by the same rules and legislation that estate agents are governed by as well. So things that we must have are things like professional indemnity insurance, public liability insurance, registration with the HMRC for anti-money laundering regulations. Some of you may have seen AMLR thrown out there. Well, that is what that is. You've got to be a member of a property ombudsman scheme, which is either the TPO, the Property Ombudsman, or the PRS, the Property Redress Scheme. And of course, you have to be registered with the ICO for data protection compliance. Even more important now, although it's always been a requirement, with regards to the GDPR legislation that came in recently as well. So all of this is really important, but of course, if you're going to set up a deal packaging business, it's the same as any other business. You're going to have requirements, you're going to have to be really committed to this, and of course, if you're committed, then the reality is you're going to be more successful, because of course, if you treat it as a business, then you are going to put everything in place in order to for it to become a serious revenue stream for you. So setting the company up properly, of course, whether you choose to be a sole trader, limited company, a limited liability partnership, it's really down to your personal circumstances. You need to seek professional advice from an accountant, a company formations expert, and someone like that, in order to be able to advise you correctly based on your own individual circumstances, but treat it as a serious property business. Now, of course, not only are there the legal requirements, but if you're going to treat this as a serious business, you're going to have to be able to put things in place to allow you to do things over and over again. Because, of course, all successful businesses simply create a system, a process that is repeatable, scalable, and then your income will continue to grow. So things like automating certain parts of your activity will mean that you can scale faster, you can increase your lead flow, and of course secure the more deals. Outsourcing time-consuming activities, basic tasks, means that you're going to be able to do more lead generation activity, and as we'll come on to shortly, we have no deal packaging business if we do not have leads. So the more leads you have, the more chance you've got of converting those into deals. The more deals you get, the more money you will make. So a big tip for me to go through tonight, because it's not a business setup webinar. That's not what I want to do, because I could potentially do a full webinar just simply on setting up your business correctly in terms of systems and processes. But what I do want you to take away tonight is that every time you perform a task, every time you do something in your business, create a Word document that lists each step that you carry out. Because what this is going to do is it's going to become your SOP, your standard operating procedure, and you are going to be able to revisit that every time you perform that task, because as you perform tasks, you are going to improve certain things, you're going to remove certain parts of the process. The first time anyone does anything, you tend to do things the long way around, you tend to do lots of things you might not necessarily need to do the first way at the first time. So that will improve and improve and improve, which means, of course, your business becomes more efficient, which means you can get more done. But also, as you grow and as you start to recruit team members into your business, you can actually get them to work off of the standard operating procedures, which, of course, will then allow you to, A, not spend as much time with regards to the training, but it will also give them a simple, repeatable process that everyone comes in and everyone does the same thing, and that is what is ultimately going to make you a very successful business. And that applies to any business, not just a property business, but of course tonight we are talking about deal packaging. So after we've done the business legalities, of course, we're going to have to create a plan. Start as you mean to go on. And what I mean is have a plan and stick to it. Now, those of you that have heard me speak before, whether it's on webinars, whether it's at events, you will know that I'm all about focus, focus, focus. And when I say focus, 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 we're talking about having one primary strategy and focusing on one primary area. Now, that's not to say that without there's going to be opportunities that come your way that fall outside of those strategies. You don't really want opportunities falling outside of your area because that will become a distraction. But in terms of potential opportunities that fall outside of your strategy, yes, you are going to come across those through your lead generation activity, but they should be a byproduct, not a focus, not a target to go after. So your marketing message is going to be very specific for one primary strategy in one primary area. And my advice to you is start with the strategy that you are most interested in. It is going to make your life so much easier and realistically more fun because you're doing what you're interested in, you're doing what sparks you up, what gets you motivated, because there are going to be times when you're working through your deal packaging business where it becomes difficult, where it becomes challenging, whether you'll face deals that fall through. And if you're doing something that you're passionate about, you're doing something that you're interested in, it will make it so much easier when things don't quite go to plan to be able to pick yourself back up and get back on there and get the grind in to get more leads generating as you want. And of course, starting with a strategy you're most interested in, it also then makes sense to start in the local area, your local area, or at least somewhere that you can visit regularly. So somewhere that you can commute to, somewhere that you're not that you're happy to drive to. Sometimes certain strategies don't work in your very local area, but they will work somewhere nearby. So just make sure that you're sort of finding that area and focusing on that area initially, because as we come on to lead generation shortly in a little bit, one of the key things here is working with agents. And of course, in order to work with agents, it's much easier to work with agents that are local than it is to have to travel 4-hour drives away at weekends every so often. So it will make it easier. One strategy in your local area, and write a business plan. So many people start a deal packaging business with no plan, no goals, no 5-year, 3-year, 1-year plan, no breakdown, no KPIs. And the reality is that when things become challenging, when the first few marketing campaigns go out and there's no response, or there's very little response, or the response is poor, they lose focus because there's no plan, there's no big vision, there's no goal, there's no driving factor, and they get distracted. They go off and find the next shiny penny syndrome. So make sure that you write a business plan that goes from 5 years, 3 years, and 1-year goals so that you can stay focused, remember what you're doing this for, and of course that will help you to progress. It will help you to build your business as you would any other serious business. Now, of course, the other thing we want to do is make sure that you don't make some common mistakes. And one of the big ones is being distracted by investors that say, oh, I have a fund of £2 million and I want to find deals that are commercial conversion projects in an area that's 14 hours drive away, but you pay great fees. They pay great fees. So what happens with the lack of focused newbie deal packager is they get all excited, they post on Facebook going, got an investor that's looking for properties up to £2 million, they've got a fund, they've got cash available, they're looking for properties anywhere in the UK, please contact me and we'll get going. It is a distraction. You will get nowhere. They have probably contacted however many other hundreds of people and you will not get anywhere at all. So do not get distracted by the investors that are not your primary focus, looking in the area that you are focused on. Because I'll tell you, you will find opportunities being presented to you outside of your primary area and your primary focus. As soon as people find out you're a deal packager, as soon as people think that you're going to be able to do all the work for them and them not do anything, but they aren't specifically focused on an area or a strategy, you will become very busy. You will be frantic. You will be doing lots of activity. But trust me, I know I've seen it happen literally hundreds of times. You will not get anywhere. You will get dejected. You will become tired. You will become really demotivated off the back of not getting results, and you'll give up. And the reality is, if you focus on a strategy, focus on an area, and focus on your lead generation activities, you will find deals, you will get that first success, and then it snowballs from there. The minute you've got your first deal and you're building your pipeline, you will continue to get more and more deals. But if you try and do everything for everyone, you're not going to get very far at all. So remember, you need to remain in control. Investors are going to try and push and pull you. You're going to work with other sources because you think that's going to be the easiest way in. But the reality is it's not going to help at all. You need to remain in control, and you need to be the one that pulls the strings, because that is how you're going to build a successful deal packaging business. And if your plan's solid, remember we talked about the business plan. If your plan is solid, it's realistic, you've got the right support, you've got the right training, you've got the access to the training all the time, not just a 2-day event that you've got to rely on your memory. If you've got access to online training, if you've got access to support, and you've got that plan written down, you've got that accountability, you are going to succeed. But remember, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. This doesn't happen overnight. If you are looking for a business that just provides thousands of pounds in fees within your first 30 days, the reality is that you're not going to get that via a deal packaging business. To be honest, the chances of getting that with any business on a consistent basis is unlikely anyway, but it is definitely not something you're going to get in a deal packaging business. And if that's what you think, you're on the wrong webinar. If you are serious about making this a big business, if you're serious about doing the activity, if you're serious about creating a plan, you're serious about the focus, then obviously we're going to be able to help you succeed in this fantastically exciting world that is deal packaging. So, of course, we've set everything up, and what I wanted to do is just quickly run into a bit of lead generation. So we are going to go into detail on 3 of the most effective lead gen strategies for most of the property investment strategies. We have got a property course called the 20 Ways to Source Property Deals, which is available and obviously goes through 20 ways to source property deals. There are many other ways outside of those 20 ways as well, but the key is not to try and do too many, because it will sap your marketing budget and it will lose your focus in terms of what is going to be the most effective for you to get success. So the really important thing to remember is a deal packaging business is all about the property leads. So the leads that you generate build up a pipeline. The more leads that are in that pipeline, the better the pipeline becomes, the more deals you will secure. The majority of property deals will come through your follow-up process, not your initial contact. Now, that's really, really important to remember, because most newbie sources, deal packagers, give up after the first couple of follow-up calls that they've done. They don't even get to number 2. They follow up once, they get a no, and then they give up. And the reality is, it might take up to 6, 7, 8 calls to get that property deal to come through. But you need to be persistent. You need to have a system in place for your follow-up, and then the more you follow up, the more deals that are in the pipeline, the more that you follow up on those deals, the more deals you will secure, and of course, the more money you will make. Your marketing budget's also going to dictate how much paid lead generation you can do, but even if you're on tonight and you're thinking, well, I've not got much of a marketing budget, I've not got much money left over on a monthly basis to invest in paid marketing, there are some excellent free ways to get started. You can ring private ads. There's plenty of people that still advertise their properties for free. You can still work with agents, which we're going to come on to in a minute. Agents are free, of course, because they do all the advertising for you, but free means that it's going to be more challenging on the basis that there are more people. The barrier to entry is lower, so of course you're going to have to work harder, but the rewards are there. we've got students in the Insider Circle that are getting leads and deals off the back of private ads, free lead generation. It's just that little bit harder, and you've just got to work that little bit more discipline and follow up and chasing them and going. They can sometimes take months to come through, but they do come through as well. So an important thing to remember with regards to your marketing is that a laser-focused marketing campaign is far more effective than scattergun approach. So I know there are people out there that just say, go phone all the Gumtree leads in all of the UK, hope for the best and start packaging the deals up. The reality is that's not a sustainable business model, and we're all about building an income for the future, not just the odd fee here and there that gives you a bit of a Brucey bonus once every 6 to 8 months, but actually a business that starts generating you 2, 3, 4, 5 deals a month on a consistent basis as any property agency would. So in order to be able to do that, you need to be disciplined from the beginning, and the way to do that is start laser-focused marketing campaigns rather than the scattergun approach. Now, of course, if you're going to create laser-focused marketing campaigns, you're going to need to know your prospect, and your prospect is effectively the property owner. So we need to know what woes have they faced, challenges, struggles, because our marketing, our letters, our adverts, our telephone calls, information gathering calls, all of those are going to solve the problems that they are suffering, because of course if we are property problem solvers, so in solving property problems, that means that we are helping people, they're happy to be helped, and of course we get deals off the back of that as well. So knowing your prospect leads to your laser focused marketing campaigns, which will bring you better and more consistent results. So like I said, what I want to do is just run through three of the primary lead generation methods that we really want you to use. First one is agents. Agents are obvious. Working with agents is all about building strong ongoing relationships with forward-thinking, like-minded business owners. Remember, they're an agent, we're an agent. We can work together for the best interests of their clients and our clients. We want to approach them on a business-to-business basis, i.e. don't go into an agent and say, I'm an investor, I'm looking for property deals, because trust me, as an ex-agent, we don't listen to you until you start delivering. Now, if you approach us on a business-to-business level, suddenly it's a different relationship. There's a potential financial gain for both parties in terms of fee splits and benefits of working together. So approach them on a business-to-business basis, not as an investor. And of course, speak to them in their language. Speak to them in the language of an agent. We are agents, they are agents. We want to buy property, they want to sell property. We represent investors, they represent property owners. We want to work together. We want to offer something that's mutually beneficial, to speak to them in their language. And of course, using that financial compensation to get the deal flow, i.e. fee splits, referral fees, giving them management of the properties, and paying their fees on behalf of the landlord, doubling the fees on behalf of the landlord. The reality is it's generally financial that agents are interested in, as of course it is with us. So offer them something in return for what they're effectively losing. And remember, good things come to those who persist. With agents, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. They are approached by, people every single day looking for investment property, looking to be the one that gets the phone call before anyone else. If you're consistent and persistent with that relationship building, we've got podcast episodes on exactly how to do this. We've actually got a previous webinar that's available for Insider Circle members that we recorded, all about building relationships with agents. Those are the important things to remain consistent at, because eventually all the others will fall by the wayside. You will still be there pushing it, and you'll start to see the benefits of that effort at the beginning. So agents are a great way, and of course agents are free in terms of they don't cost anything up front. They might cost you something off the back of the deal, but you don't mind giving up a percentage of the deal on the basis that you can build deal flow anyway. Now, a couple of the paid methods, a couple of the most popular methods, the most successful methods for us, direct mail, all about building a highly targeted list, which is That's the key to our success. The letter must identify a problem, like we talked about before, and then offer a solution that's compelling enough for them to contact you. Make sure you give them multiple ways to respond. That's really, really important. Not everyone likes to phone you back. They don't like the hard sell, which is often what happens when you phone someone back. So give them multiple ways, whether it's email, text, phone, it doesn't really matter as long as they've got multiple ways to get in touch. Make sure that you're structuring your campaigns and deliver them consistently over a 3 to 4 month period. And my advice is to break that down weekly. So if you've got the marketing budget to send out 100 letters per month, and that 100 letters I would then split down into weekly batches. So 25 a week for 4 weeks gives you 100 letters per month, and then rotate that cycle so that there's lead generation activity via direct mail going out every single week. And the really important thing with this and every other marketing activity is monitor your results constantly and tweak as necessary, but never tweak major things, multiple things at the same time. Little things, little differences, change the messaging in the letter, change the title, change how you address the envelopes. All of these things are really important to assess, monitor, because really marketing's all about consistently improving what you do. So you see what works, you see what don't, you do more of what works, you do less of what doesn't. That's exactly how marketing should work and exactly how direct mail should work. And of course, pay-per-click, so primarily Facebook ads. We need to know who our prospect is. So like we mentioned earlier on in the webinar, who is the prospect, what problems are they suffering, and then create an avatar, create an example of who that person is that you're trying to reach with their advert. So, are they male or female? What kind of age group are they in? What interests do they have? What hobbies have they got? What are they Google searching on a daily basis? What are the problems that they're looking at? The headline then becomes something that is designed to get them to click, which of course is going to be based on the problem, and the solution. We've got a solution for your problem. Click here to find out what it is. Of course, they will then click on the problem, and then make sure that your message is consistent across all of your different points of the funnel. So we call it a sales funnel. So the journey that your customer goes on from clicking on the Facebook advert to going to a web page to providing their details for you to contact them, it's all called a sales funnel. And in the funnel you're going to have a consistency of message and a consistency of branding of how it looks, because that's what's going to keep people interested. It's going to build trust without you having yet spoken to them with regards to the offer that you provide. So it sounds complicated. It's something that we are absolute masters at. I say we. Brad is an absolute master. I like it as well. I really enjoy the marketing side, but Brad really is the master of this. So it's really important to get that consistency of message, get the right avatar, get them to click through, and of course, make sure that they're following a process, a path to where you want them to go at the end. And of course, your call to action is, what do you want them to do? It has to be clear and simple. Get in touch, provide your details, leave us property details, whatever it might be. That call to action on your lead generation, on your pay-per-click adverts, has to be very clear, very simple, very obvious, and very easy to do. Now, the next two parts of the process after you've generated leads are not for tonight's webinar, but what I did want to do is just quickly run through them just so that you've got an idea. So, of course, the leads come in, you're going to have to analyze them. So you are going to need to know your numbers, and the more you analyze deals, the quicker you will become. The quicker you become, the quicker decisions you can make. Sometimes you'll even look at deals on the surface of it and know straight away that they're not going to work. And then, of course, a really important part of deal analysis and progression is your offer. And the way that I teach and the way that I promote making offers is to make one offer, stick with it, especially when you are deal packaging. It's slightly different when you're looking to buy for yourself, because of course you know what numbers you're prepared to go to. You can tweak it slightly if you're keen for the deal. You might be able to add a little bit extra just to get that first deal over the line. The reality is, if you're going to do that with every single deal that comes through on a deal packaging business, you're going to waste a heck of a lot of time, and you do not want to be wasting time when you are building a pipeline of deals. So make one offer, stick with it, and then move forward, and then pop them into the follow-up process if they have indeed rejected that offer. Then, of course, once you've analysed the deal, they've agreed to accept the offer, you need to secure it. So depending on the strategy, there's going to be specific paperwork that you need to use to secure your deals. Again, I mentioned it, it's not part of this webinar. This is all about a deal packaging business, but we do have courses in Deal Analysis Masterclass, which is all about that. And of course, securing the deal is part of the Platinum program, which is our full A to Z of sourcing and deal packaging. Anyway, but that's enough of that. What's really important in a deal packaging business, of course, is building your investor list. Now, investors can be your best friends, and they can also become your worst enemy. So very quickly, you're going to have investors asking you to find deals outside of your primary focus. Like we mentioned before, do not get distracted